Disneyland, often called the happiest place on earth, is a world of magic, joy, and cherished memories from millions. But behind the bright lights and cheerful music, there are stories that are rarely told. Stories that remind us of the fragility of life, even in the most enchanting of places. Today, we're going to talk about one such story, a tragedy that has largely faded from public memory, but left an indelible mark on a family and on the park itself. This is the heartbreaking story of Brandon Zucker. It was September 22, 2000. The Zucker family was visiting Disneyland, ready for a day of fun and excitement. 4-year-old Brandon, full of energy and wonder, was with his mom, dad, and older brother. Like many kids his age, he was thrilled to be at the park. The family decided to ride one of the most popular attractions in Toontown, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. This ride takes you on a wild taxi journey through the cartoon world, spinning and swerving as you go. The family boarded a Lenny cab, a 2-seater vehicle. Brandon sat next to his mom, Victoria, while his dad and brother were in the cab ahead of them. The ride began, and they were plunged into the colorful chaos of Toontown. As their cab spun around, something unthinkable happened. According to reports and his mother's account, Brandon was somehow ejected from the moving ride vehicle. He fell from the cab, and his small body was trapped and dragged underneath the following taxicab for about 10 feet. The ride came to a sudden halt. Panic ensued. When rescuers finally reached Brandon, he was pinned under the vehicle, unconscious and not breathing. He had suffered catastrophic injuries. Paramedics worked quickly to revive him, and he was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He had a torn diaphragm, a ruptured spleen, a fractured pelvis, and severe irreversible brain damage due to the lack of oxygen. The little boy who had entered the park full of life was now fighting for it. The immediate aftermath was a whirlwind of investigations. Disneyland officials and state safety inspectors from Cal, OSHA, descended on the Roger Rabbit ride. The attraction was shut down indefinitely as they tried to piece together what went so terribly wrong. How could a 4-year-old fall out of a ride that had been operating for years? The investigation focused on the design of the ride vehicle. The family's lawsuit later alleged that Brandon was seated on the left side of the cab, near a cutout in the side of the vehicle. His mother had placed a diaper bag on the floor, and it's believed that as the cab spun, Brandon may have slid across the smooth bench seat, slipped over the bag, and fallen through the opening. The lap bar, which was a shared bar for both riders, was not enough to secure a small child during the ride's spinning motion. In the wake of the incident, Disneyland made immediate safety changes. When Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin eventually reopened, it featured new protective shields around the bottom of each cab, effectively closing the gap that Brandon fell through. They also added sensors to detect if a passenger is not properly seated. These were crucial modifications, but they came too late for Brandon. While the park took steps to prevent a repeat of the accident, Brandon's own battle was just beginning. He survived the initial trauma, but the brain damage he sustained was profound. He was left unable to walk, speak, or even eat on his own. He required round-the-clock medical care for the rest of his life. His family's world was turned upside down. The joy of raising a child was replaced by the constant, heartbreaking reality of caring for one with severe disabilities. The Zuckers filed a lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company, alleging the ride was dangerous and negligently designed. The legal battle was long and arduous. In 2002, the family reached a settlement with Disney. The terms were kept confidential, but it was reported to be a multi-million-dollar agreement, intended to provide for Brandon's lifelong medical needs. It was a legal resolution, but it could never restore what the family had lost. For 9 years, Brandon lived in this state. His family, particularly his mother Victoria, dedicated their lives to his care. It was a life filled with love, but also immense struggle and sorrow. The little boy with the bright smile was trapped inside a body that wouldn't respond. His family watched him grow, but he never got to experience the simple joys of childhood, running in a park, playing with friends, or even telling his parents he loved them. Then, on January 26, 2009, 13 years old and more than 8 years after the accident, Brandon Zucker passed away. The magic of Disneyland, a place meant to create happiness, had instead led to a lifetime of pain and an early end to a young life. His death was a final, tragic chapter in a story that began on that fateful day in Toontown. So why is this story not more widely known? Over the years, Disneyland has had a number of incidents and accidents, but Brandon's story seems to be one of the most heart-wrenching, and yet, it often gets overlooked. Perhaps it's because it happened before the age of viral social media. Perhaps it's because the details are just too painful to dwell on. Or perhaps it's because the image of a child being so severely injured at the happiest place on earth is a contradiction that's difficult for us to process. But it's a story that needs to be remembered. It's a reminder that behind the fantasy and the fun, these are complex, powerful machines. Safety protocols and ride design are not just technical details. They are what stand between a day of joy and a lifetime of tragedy. Brandon's accident led to tangible safety improvements that have likely protected countless other children. His legacy, in a sad and profound way, is the safety of future parkgoers. When we visit theme parks, we place our trust in the people who run them. We assume that every precaution has been taken. Brandon Zucker's story is a sobering testament to why that trust must be earned and constantly reevaluated. It's a reminder to us as visitors, especially parents, to always be vigilant. Pay attention to safety instructions, use your best judgment, and never hesitate to speak up if something doesn't feel right. The story of Brandon Zucker is not meant to scare you away from theme parks or to diminish the joy they bring to so many. It's meant to honor the memory of a little boy whose life was cut short and to acknowledge the immense pain his family endured. It's a call for remembrance and a demand for continued vigilance in ensuring that the happiest place on earth is also the safest. Thank you for watching and taking the time to remember Brandon with us.